Good afternoon, Dr. Felix. My name is Jerry DeWeese. I am a student in your Theology 2 class, and I am very excited to do this video. One of the things that I wanted to talk about first was my own theology. I believe that a God exists. I believe that He lives inside of me every single day. He gives me guidance. He helps me understand the difference between right and wrong. It's one of the issues that I had previously growing up, well, partly growing up. As a child, I never really had a problem. It wasn't until I was an adult that I had an issue with understanding Him and knowing who He was. Again, I know that He's real. I know that I love God, and I know that He loves me for everything that I've ever done. Spirituality, for me, means believing in something greater than myself. Excuse me. I've never seen God. I've never touched God in the physical sense that we think of. I have experienced a lot of His miracles. I understand that God is omnipotent. He's all-knowing, He's all-caring. As far as the understanding of man, I believe that it is on an individual basis where myself, I can say it for myself, not for every human being, that it's their own understanding of what God is and who God is. Some people do not have that understanding. And that could be that that's how they were brought up. And I believe on part of that is the world too. There are different parts of the world that do not have a belief in God as we know it, but they have a belief in a God that they understand and know. For instance, Allah, Buddha, the Hindu religion, they have their own version of a God, or goddesses, as it will. It's a very difficult thing to try to explain someone else's viewpoint on the concept of God. All I can say is my own view. Section 2 is very personal. It's very deep for me. I touched on it a little bit in the first section, but my history growing up was in the Church of Christ. We went to church every single Sunday morning. We went to church every single Sunday night. We went to church Wednesday night. I remember being in Sunday school and singing all of the songs that, Jesus loves me, this I know. And that's always stuck with me. And it will always stick with me until the day that I'm put underground. However, once I became a teenager, I lost sight of that. I wanted to find my own way. I wanted to find my own understanding of, I guess in some terms, a different God. And I thought that I had found it, but in reality, I had not. Um, it was very difficult to understand some of the things that happened to me in my past that I will not go into detail. I blamed God a lot, asking, why did this happen to me? Why did you let this happen to me? And throughout my past, especially into my adulthood, well, actually into my adulthood, I experimented with drugs and alcohol, and I was on a downward spiral. And 2009 changed my life, to the point that I bounced back. I almost died in 2009. It scared my mother. It even scared me, to the point that it scared my mom. She was getting ready to find a way to bury me. And from that moment, it changed my life forever. Which brings me now into this point where I completed my bachelor's degree in 2016, and that set me on a path to start my master's degree. And it's interesting going over this section, hearing or seeing the thing of personal history and present circumstances, how it's affected me now. And I realize that God doesn't give us more than we can handle. Or let me state, God does not give me more than I can handle. Every traumatic thing that I had been through brought me to this point. I am now a licensed chemical dependency counselor through the state of Texas. I've had my license for a year now, but I've been practicing since 2017. And it's given me that ability to help others who have gone through what I have gone through. It has shown me a lot more compassion, a lot more sympathy, and even in some cases, empathy. And for that, I'm grateful. It's given me a new meaning on what theology is and what spirituality is. And even on some aspects, I believe that theology and spirituality, yes, they coincide as a similarity, but they are different. As I stated in the first section, I know that there's a God. And I have a whole new meaning and a whole new respect for God and what He does for me and even the world around me. Understanding what my own personal theology and spirituality and how my life will be impacted with my practice as a counselor, I have learned over the past 3 years as being a licensed chemical dependency counselor, and over the past 4 years of being in my master's. I use a lot of the American Counseling Association, their ethical practices. I believe that my values towards God and spirituality and even theology, no matter how much I want to discuss it, will never be brought to light in a counseling situation. I will be able to relate to clients if they bring it up in a session. It's not my place to disclose my view on how I see God and how I hear Him and how I believe in Him, because that's all on an individual level. how is it my right to explain to someone else how they should believe in God and how they should see God? I can't. Once again, that's imposing or enforcing my beliefs. This class has taught me a lot on how to understand him even more. And I am looking forward to my future as a counselor and to be able to pray before I have a session. And that prayer will consist of God guiding me in the right path to help my clients. Because our first goal as a counselor is to promote dignity and welfare to our clients. And I believe that the only way that I can provide that is prayer, by having God guide me so that I have that ability to show compassion, dignity, promote the welfare of my clients. I will admit that it won't be an easy task. It's going to be very difficult. I know that I'm going to be tried a lot with my clients. I'll get the good, but I will also get the not so good. Those that have severe psychological disturbances, those that have co-occurring psychological disorders, meaning that they are they have mental health and substance use issues. I could possibly get a client that comes in that has been using, let's say, methamphetamine, but they also have a mental health disorder such as schizophrenia. And it will be God's guidance that will help me distinguish the two, because I know for a fact that they present as very similar, symptoms, if you will. Again, it's not going to be an easy task, and I will admit, part of me is scared to go down that journey as a licensed professional counselor. Part of me is to ask help. I hope I gain more insight. And I know that I can only gain more insight through God's love and His power. And I know it won't be easy. Thank you, Dr. Felix, for guiding us throughout this class. Well, thank you for guiding me. I look forward to working with you more. Thank you.